You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows.
Welcome to Foo Bar, One Nation Under Foo, and I am your host, the lovely, the creative, the darling, the angelic, the Foo. And we are coming to you live from Foo Bar Studios on KLRNradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. Good to be with you all tonight. Thank you so much for being here with me live. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment, though, to dedicate part of the show tonight. I'm going to be dedicating part of it to our friends, family, Americans in Texas, in Louisiana, and part of my show to my good friend and my first producer, Hammy. Please keep them all in your thoughts and prayers. Prayers abound from them here in Foo Bar Studios, and you are all in our hearts tonight as we get started on this radio show. So here we are, folks. Sorry about last week. I got to tell you, I was sick as a dog, and I would not have been any fun to listen to. But we're back live. Yay! And I think it's going to be a pretty kick-ass show. Oh, and before we get started, I got to tell you, we got to have this chat. We went to my daughter's middle school open house today. Oh, my God, I'm freaking out. I mean, I'm so excited for her because she's amazing, and she's 12, and she's going to be rad, and this is my preemie. She was the one who was born 3 months early, and I'm watching her growing up, and she's got to stop doing that. Freaking me out. It's one of those things as a parent, and I think if you're a parent, you know where I'm coming from, where you're so damn excited that your kid is doing all these great things and growing up, but you're totally freaking out on the inside because they're doing all these great things and growing up. That's where I am tonight. And it's interesting to be there because, you think about all the things that you have in your life that you're grateful for, that you're blessed to have. And as I think about my daughter and the things we have here, I'm thinking about the people in Texas and in Louisiana and what they're going through down there. And I have to tell you that watching this over the past few days, I have been so enlightened and inspired and at the same time so terribly disappointed. We talk a lot about the douchebags on this show, which we'll get to here in a little while. But I think we need to spend a little time this week talking about a couple of people who are doing some amazing things in Texas and online. And that is Jesse and Aubrey Kelly. If you don't know Jesse and Aubrey, they are a wonderful, sweet couple. They are on Twitter. Jesse makes up horrible lists about all kinds of terrible food and God knows what else. The man thinks that cold pie is better than warm pie, things like that. Yeah, he's not right all the time, but I tell you what he and his wife, Aubrey, have been doing in and for Texas has been just pretty phenomenal. We talk so much about Twitter and the land of Twitter, and I'm connected to them that way. So I wanted to give them a shout out for what they're doing down there and what they're trying to accomplish and who they're trying to help. I saw it firsthand on my feed today. Somebody was trying to get help. They were in a building that was flooding and they couldn't get out. Their family was there with them, and they actually asked Jesse Kelly for help. So I just think that speaks volumes about who he is as a person and as a conservative. I think that's really something we are missing as we talk about politics in this day and age, are the good in the people that we are working with and the people we see every day. Because, it's really easy to talk about the schmucks because the schmucks are the one who make the news, like Linda Sarsour. Oh, I love talking about Linda. She really is a boil on the butt of humanity, isn't she? Tell you what, if you don't know who Linda is, you're very lucky, though. Linda is one of the leaders of the Women's March. She is a Sharia-loving, anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic, nasty person. And today it came out that what she's been doing is trying to raise money for people in Houston, but actually what she's doing is raising money for her PAC, her super PAC. So basically she's saying, hey, give money for Houston, and then she's taking that money and using it for whatever warped, disgusting political agenda she has right now. Now, her rationale probably is, well, we need to make sure we're still for those people. They're going to need us to fight for them and advocate them because the evil white man is going to do something mean to them, blah, blah, blah. Whatever nonsense it is they tell themselves. You know, Linda, you can tell she's part of the Women's March because the Women's March is out there. I think it was this morning. And they were like, hey, guys, here are some charities who will only help illegal immigrants, Black Americans, Latinx, not Latino or Latina, Latinx, which I'm assuming means they were saying both male and female. I don't know. You know, I'm surprised they weren't saying they were raising money for unicorns because I can't keep any of it straight with these people. But they were looking at trying to raise money in a divided fashion for people who are dying in Houston. Oh, they're flooding in Texas. Guess what? We're going to play politics with this, and we're going to work overtime to keep this narrative alive, this narrative that people hate minorities, that people hate women. We have to keep this alive because there's too much unity going on here. There's too much of an American goodness happening here. There are too many people going out rescuing others in their own boats. There's too much masculine toxicity, or what is toxic masculinity. God, you know, I don't know who these people are, why they think this makes sense. You know, I'm sure if you've seen any of the footage or the photos of people helping one another and gorgeous, I'm sorry, call me sexist if you want to, a gorgeous guy from the, I think what was he, SWAT, carrying that lovely Asian woman and her child, and they're walking in water. The Black man carrying the two children, and the water's up to his hips. I mean, there is some amazing footage coming out of Texas. And these jackasses are out there trying to divide that. Because if they can't keep us divided, if they can't keep us believing that there's some hateful, hurtful thing going out there, that there's something bigger and meaner than the American spirit, they are irrelevant, and they have to accept that. They're going to have to accept that what they're fighting for is not happening, that women are equal, that people are equal, that Americans love each other, that Americans are there for each other. Even when we politically disagree, we're going to go out of our way to help somebody because that's what Americans do. It's like with Antifa in Berkeley. There was a video of the lone Trump supporter or the conservative journalist, I'm not entirely sure which he was, he could have been both, being attacked by this group of thugs, the Antifa. And you see this, I'm sorry, but gorgeous Black man in beautiful braids. He jumps in the middle of this fight and covers the man with himself to stop them from beating him. And it comes out that his name is Al Letson. And Al is a very progressive leftist journalist. And he probably knew the guy he was helping on the ground didn't agree with him. The guy on the ground probably didn't like anything that he had to say politically. But as a human being, this man needed his help. And so he helped him. And the reason I know all this is because I found his feed on Twitter, and I was just absolutely taken aback. Because Al was talking about the reason he did it. And there were people on the left saying, you helped a racist, you helped a white supremacist, how dare you? And he's like, if you have a problem with me helping another human being, that's your problem, not mine. I tell you what, it was probably the most hopeful I have felt since the election. And it's interesting because there are so many horrible things going on right now, but to see that moment of humanity, like we're seeing in Texas, there's humanity in this country, and I think we forget about it because so much of what we hear is bitching and moaning and angry. And you see these things happening, and you see these people like the Women's March and Linda Sarsour trying to make sure that we stay divided, that we stay angry. And I get pissed at them. I'm tired of being angry all the time. And I think what Houston reminds us of is that we don't have to be. and that as Americans, we are better than that, and that we have to work together to keep this country going, whether we all agree with one another or not, because it's those disagreements that make us Americans. I think that's one of the cool things about being an American, but maybe I'm just being, overly hopeful and soapboxy and all that crap, and I'll come off of here and someone will say something stupid and I'll be, forget it, we're doomed. But I got to tell you, watching the stuff in Texas and watching what happened with that journalist, I got hope finally. And I think that's one thing I think we should all try and take away from this, is that no matter how much garbage we're wading through in this country, we're still pretty damn good. Okay, I'm going to take a short break. When I get back, speaking of how great this country is, I have the top 10 douchebags of the week. So stay put.
One shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know again. 3 shots, come, you might find your daddy gone.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know again. 3 shots, come, you might find your daddy gone.
And we're back from break. Thank you for staying put. You are with Foo on the Foo Bar, and we've been talking about the good things in this country and the hope we should have and coming together, and what follows that up better than talking about douchebags. Here's the reality of all of this, is that, we can talk about these great things, but ultimately at the end of the day, no matter how wonderful and how hard we work to be uplifting and positive, there are going to be schmucks in the universe who screw things up for us. And those are the douchebags. If you are new to the show, welcome. And just so you know, every week we do what's called the top 10 douchebags. And what we do is we go out into the social media world and we ask friends, followers, and crazy people to send us nominations of people who they think that have been less than friendly or less than positive or just total douchebags during the week. Then we go through those nominations and we pick the top 10. I will tell you that I had 110 nominations this week. I guess you could say it's been a busy week for douchebags. So here we go with this week's top 10. At number 10 is the Women's March. Now, I know I already ranted about these crazy broads, but they did make the list. It wasn't just me who was angry with them. There were people all over Twitter just freaking out about, what the hell's wrong with you? We're finally working together and you're trying to make sure that we're only helping certain types of people. You're going to pretend that these groups, these minority groups, aren't going to get help because of evil white people. It was just so dumb. And it was so douchebaggy. And it was just really so them. So it's easy to put them on the list at number 10. At number 9 is Politico in general. First of all, Politico made a big deal. Not that the president and the first lady are making a trip to Texas, but what she's wearing on her feet. Apparently, this was some big deal because, she shouldn't be wearing stilettos because it sends the wrong message. I don't think people who are in flooded area give two craps about what shoes she's wearing. They're probably just glad to have that support. Call me crazy, but it is Politico. In addition, they also released a cartoon today that was, and this guy's on the list, I won't give his name, but they actually released this cartoon of Texans clearly in the water, and the National Guard is rescuing them. And there's like signs on their house that's been flooded that say secede, and there's a, don't tread on me flag or some other nonsense, basically accusing Texans of not liking government but needing government. And the guy in the water has got a big cowboy hat, and he says, "Oh, these are angels coming to save us." And they're like, "No, we're from the government," because they thought that was somehow appropriate to put out when there's still flooding and there are people still actively in danger because they're schmucks or they're douchebags. At number 9. At number 8, this leads to the artist of that cartoon. His name is Matt Rucker. Matt, Wuerker. He is the artist behind the crappy cartoon. And as it came out, first he made some snide comments about how he should have made the flag bigger. People didn't like it. And then he started walking it back. And, you were a schmuck to create the cartoon in the first place. What were you drawing? What were you thinking? You weren't thinking. You thought, let's use Texas to make a statement about people who don't like big government. It was awful. And, these people who are playing politics on the back of Houston and what is going on there are awful and disgusting and gross. And there are plenty of them. But this guy, we know his name. And his name is Matt Rucker. I can't call him Matt. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm thinking it's the Gatorade. Maybe it's got something else in it. His name is Matt Rucker, and he's a douchebag at number 8. Number 7 is Slate. I don't know if you know Slate, but they suck, and they're a lefty publication who writes ridiculous things. Now they've released an article that says that Texas doesn't show what's the best in Americans. So basically it's saying what's going on in Texas doesn't tell us what's great about being an American. Because they don't want us to think being an American is a great thing. They're so ashamed of being an American. They so hate American ways and traditions and ideas that they can't just accept that the American spirit is something they can't kill. No matter how much they try, no matter how much garbage and nonsense they spew, the American spirit lives on. So suck it, Slate. You're a douchebag at number 7. At number 6 is Ken Story. I don't know if you guys know Ken Story. Ken Story is a gentleman who was teaching at the University of Tampa. He was a sociology teacher of some sort. He decided in all his infinite wisdom to go on Twitter and blame the GOP for Harvey. Basically doing what a lot of these schmucks have been doing in social media, trying to play politics with people dying, saying that basically Texas deserved this hurricane because they voted for Trump, and that the GOP deserved this because they voted for Trump. He talked about, he didn't know if there was such thing as instant karma. And he found out the hard way that there is instant karma because his ass was fired for tweeting that. He tried to come in and explain, no, I meant GOP leadership. I wasn't saying that they deserved it. That's not what I meant. Then he tried to delete the tweets. Then he tried to come back then he deleted his account. Then he came back and apologized, and they still fired his douchebag ass, and he deserved it. And he's number 6 this week. Number 5 is Joel Osteen. I don't know how you say his last name. You guys, if you listen to me a long time, you'll realize I can't pronounce anyone's last name. Deal. Joel, basically, he's a big God guy, and he wasn't doing much for the people in Texas. And he is there in Houston, has a huge church that seats like 16,000 or something. And he wasn't doing much but praying for people, which, dude, come on, you got a huge church, you got lots of money, get your shit together and get it done. Finally, after a lot of pressure, he decided, oopsie, our bad, and he opened up the church, but it was a little too late because, we had seen his true colors because, that's just kind of a douchebag thing to do. So at number 5 is Joel. Number 4 is Chris Christie. And anybody out there pretending that Ted Cruz voted against Sandy because he was playing politics and being mean. I'm so sick of this nonsensical argument. I may not agree with Ted Cruz all the time. There are things we disagree on. I admit it. But I know he voted against Sandy relief because 80% of that bill was pork and like maybe 20% was going to go to Sandy. So he voted against it because these schmucks put their funding for pet projects on the backs of Sandy victims. But that's not who they're treating like a villain. They're going after Ted Cruz, who said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let you use these people for Alaskan fisheries and the roof at the Smithsonian and all this other crap they wanted to fund in this bill. So Chris Christie was out today just hammering and trying to be nasty to Ted Cruz about, you turned your back on New Jersey and New York, blah, blah, blah. Pete King is also in this little category. These guys, these awful pigs, and I'm sorry, they're pigs. They know why Ted did what he did. And they don't think that we know any better because they think people like us are stupid and that we don't read bills. But we do read bills, and we do know what was in it. And we do know Ted's telling the truth, that 80% of that bill was garbage. So at number 4, Chris Christie, and by default, Pete King, you guys are douchebags. At number 3 is Keith Olbermann. Oh, Keith. Poor, crazy, living in his basement wrapped up in an American flag Keith. Man, what is wrong with this guy? A couple years back, I don't even remember what I said to him. It could have even been a baseball thing back then. He blocked me, which was fine because I didn't, I don't miss seeing his craziness in my timeline, but for some reason he unblocked me recently. I don't know. So I can see all of his nonsense in my timeline. And the dude is just nuts. Now, I don't know if this is an act because the left eats it up, because it's a crazy guy and he hates Trump. We all hate Trump. Let's get Trump. It's just stupid. But part of me wonders if he's really just lost his damn mind. He, as Houston was looking at this huge storm coming in and looking at Harvey, Keith tweeted to Betsy DeVos, who had said something about, be safe, or, this is coming, it's going to destroy all these schools, please be safe. And he said, this hurricane won't do more damage than you, MFer, and all this stuff. And then he called Arpaio and Trump Nazis and said F off and FFF and you're a Nazi. All kinds of things that would get people like me and you and anybody else, suspended, probably arrested if it was the president. But, Twitter's like, hey, you got a blue check and you're one of us, so knock yourself out, be a schmuck. And boy, has he been a schmuck. Oh my gosh, he's just, he makes Rosie O'Donnell look sane in his rants because he's just lost it. I mean, if for nothing else, if you have to find something to look at and enjoy during this Trump administration, watch Keith lose his mind. It's really interesting. And he's still a douchebag at number 3. At number 2 is Neil Bortz. If you don't know Neil, lucky you. Neil decided he was going to make a statement about a poor black woman who lost her shiznit on a CNN reporter in Houston. She and her daughter had just walked a good long way in lots of water. They needed food. They were cold. They were wet. And there was a CNN reporter in this woman's face, basically trying to, get an interview for, the CNNs out there. They're involved. They're helping with the hurricane, blah, blah, blah. Well, this woman lit her up. And I'll tell you what, I watched it and I was like, you tell her, because, and the lady's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, you guys are trying to talk to people in their worst times. And I just walked, 4 blocks or 4 miles and 4 feet of water and my kid's cold and you got your microphone in my face. And she's dropping some F-bombs on live TV, which I totally respect because I've done the same. I get it. So, this made a big deal online. Neil decided to make a comment that he didn't like the F-bomb, and then he asked where her husband was and kind of made a nasty comment about this woman being a single mother and that, people are like, hey, man, chill out. She just lost everything. And he got even nastier. And he says, that's idiotic. We don't know what she's lost, blah, blah, blah. So he kind of takes this weird personal stance against this poor black woman in Houston. And so he just got lit up. I mean, it was not pretty. And I tell you what, this was yesterday. And I think 20 of the nominations for Douchebag of the Week were Neil. So he's number 2. At number 1 is our good friend Linda Sarsour. Now, we've already talked a good deal about Linda and why she's a douchebag, but today really exemplified her douchebaggery. I tell you what, she got called out on the whole raising money for her PAC thing. Then she decided to say that it was alt-right, that only the alt-right was angry with her, that they must have sent out some email to all of this fringe group to come out and attack her. Because, I was on her case, and I'm so totally alt-right. No, you crazy bitch. They hate me. They tried to get me fired. They tried to hurt me in real life. I'm the opposite of the alt-right, and I am calling you out because you are a disgrace to these people and to what you stand for, and shame on you. And you are the number one douchebag this week just because of who you are. Not because of the alt-right, not because the GOP is scared of you or hates you, but because you suck as a human being. At number one is Linda Sarsour. Some honorable mentions. I have Antifa and the media, and I have Persnickety, who is Dawn, who I adore, and we're not going to say she's a douchebag, so tough nuts on that honorable mention. Okay, you guys, I am going to take a short break. When I get back, we'll have the co-founder of the Federalist Party, JD Rucker, so stay put.
One shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know again. 3 shots come, you might find your daddy gone.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty HealthShare and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
One shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know.
And we're back. This is Foo on the Foo Bar, One Nation Under Foo. And I got to tell you, I was talking to JD and producer Rick during the break, and I was telling them that my office is in the front of my house, and now that it's getting darker, that people can see in because my computer's on, and so these people walking by keep stopping to stare at me on the air. So I just keep waving at them and talking like a crazy person because, you know, that's what I am. But thank you for staying put. As you know, I've been on break, but now we have the brilliant llama knower himself, JD Rucker. Are you there, JD?
I am.
How are you, sir?
I am doing very well. I'm away from the llamas for today, but otherwise we miss them, but we're doing well.
You know, I talk to a lot of people when they come on the show, and I'm always like, hey, what do you want to talk about? You know, well, I'm really knowledgeable about food and politics and llamas. I'm like, oh, well, llamas it is. We're going to talk llamas tonight. No, I'm kidding. I knew you'd want to talk about federalism, and I think, you know, this timing of this interview is perfect. I actually am curious about what inspired you to start with the Federalist Party and what you're trying to do. I know that's kind of a big question, but it's a good place to start if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. About a little over a year ago, we were looking at what was happening within the GOP. I've been a lifelong Republican, and I've had a lot of friends that have been telling me, you know what, look at the Libertarian Party, look at the Constitution Party. You know, the GOP is leaving you behind and all this stuff. And I guess I've been in denial for a decade because up till about a year ago, I was thinking, no, you know, we can fix this. We can primary the bad ones out. We can turn this more towards a small government-minded party. All we have to do is support the Tea Party, bond together. And then I came to the conclusion last year that just isn't going to happen.
No.
So we started looking at alternatives, looking at third parties. I explored several of them. And when I say several, over double digits. You know, we looked at big ones, small ones, anyone who we could potentially help to grow. And what we found was that they're not strategically ready for the 21st century. And this is across the. And so the decision was made. You know what? Let's explore the possibility. Let's at least put out some feelers. And I did this back in July of last year. Let's put out some feelers. Are there people interested? And I was expecting there to be, you know, this little blog post on the New Americana. I thought I'd get, you know, a couple dozen inquiries. By the next morning, I realized that I'd made a terrible mistake by putting my email address because it was flooded. There were hundreds of responses within the first few hours saying, heck yes, we need a new conservative party. Over time, we evolved, and that's when we realized that it's not so much that we needed the new conservative party. We needed the Federalist Party, and if we have time, I'll go into the ever so slight but important differences between federalism and conservatism in modern America.
I think that's a good point because I don't know that everyone is aware of what federalism is, what it stands for. I can tell you I can relate very much to your feeling of, I don't think we can fix what's going on here. And I don't think that we have, it's just like people vote with what they know. We have an apathetic voter base. We have an uninformed voter base. I don't know that we can fix that. So I completely relate to your struggle and where you are. And I think this is a great point to talk about the differences between conservatism and federalism, because as a conservative, I'm kind of flopping around out there feeling like I don't belong anymore. So I think your point is great. Go ahead and talk a little bit about the differences.
Well, federalism is a lot more static. things don't change with federalism based upon what's happening in the political atmosphere, what's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Our variation, we're talking about new federalism. People will always say, "Oh, weren't the Federalists the 18th century? Didn't they want to centralize government and all this?" And it's true. But what they really wanted, and what the anti-federalists also wanted at the time, the founding fathers, the people who built the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, what they wanted was balance between the states and the federal government. They wanted the people to be empowered, the individual rights of people to be protected. And they knew the only way that you could do that is if you had that pure balance between the states and the federal government, a federal government that was limited to handling certain things, and then states which were able to handle just about everything else unless they were things that should be handled by individuals. Right. So our perspective on federalism, and this is a perspective that we didn't create. This has been growing since really the 60s. Many Republicans, such as Reagan and Nixon, were promoting this concept of new federalism. Small government federalism is this. Today, we need to rein in Washington, D.C. The overreach is so far overblown, it's impossible to describe how far they have overreached beyond what they were supposed to be able to do. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Obamacare, whether, we're not those that say, eliminate the federal government. We're not anarchists. We need the federal government for infrastructure, for military. There's many needs for the federal government.
Sure.
But those have been delineated. Those have already been set aside as this is what they need to do. We want to limit them back to where the federal government needs to be based upon the Constitution. And the second component of federalism is defending rights. Defending our First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth, Sixth, Tenth, all the way through. Now, there are certain things that we would ask federalists be against. It's not a big sticking point. We're not for the 17th Amendment. It's there. We agree with it. We agree that we have to abide by it because it's there. But we would actually fight to oppose it.
Let's repeal it. I am with you.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Repeal it. And the 16th. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and 16th. There's plenty. So
just don't say the 19th, or I'm hanging up on you. You know how this goes. Oh my God, we are such dorks making amendment jokes. That's so pathetic.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Oh my God. Oh, and if you get that joke, you're as big a dork as I am. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, us fellow amendment snobs out here, talking. Yeah. So the bottom line is we do believe in limiting government, mm-hmm. defending our rights, our freedoms, and protecting life. We view life, it's a long discussion, I'm sure.
Sure.
Conservatism, which was your question. What is conservatism? Conservatism does fit in many ways within federalism, but there's a challenge. Conservatism it moves. Now, people will argue with me, no, true conservatism never moves. But we've seen it move. Okay, yeah, we've seen that today. Conservatism has conflicts within it. Is it conservative to believe America first and we should bring jobs back? Is that conservative? Most people would say yes. Is it conservative to say, well, does that mean that we believe in free trade or fair trade? There was a time when free trade was the way to go. But today, if you were to ask most self-proclaimed conservatives, which is better, free trade or fair trade, a good chunk of them would say fair trade. And that's shifted just in the last 2 years.
Well, yeah. A lot of things have shifted, though, in the last 2 years because suddenly they expect the philosophies of conservatism to follow along with this guy who they want to believe is a conservative. So it moves because people are letting it. Yeah.
Keep in mind, I would have 100% agreed with that statement until recently when I started witnessing and realizing this wasn't necessarily just, a guy redefining it. True. What we're seeing, and this is the biggest challenge, I think, with the GOP, is not necessarily at the top, but they're in the middle. What we're seeing is that there's no conflict. There aren't a bunch of Republicans coming out and saying, wait a second, whoa, hold on. No. What are you doing? That's not right. This isn't what we're about.
Right.
What you have is a bunch of Republicans saying, oh, gosh, he said that. He got away with it. We can do this? Wait, we're allowed to say that now?
Oh,
holy cow, this is awesome. You mean we can actually be we can actually be the middle of the ground establishment that we've wanted to be for the last 60 years. Holy cow. Thank you, President, Mr. President. That's what we're seeing. They have actually embraced it and adopted it. And that's when it came to the point where, you know what? There is no hope for the GOP. The chances of being able to take, for example, the Freedom Caucus or the Cruzes and Lees of the Senate and to build and grow those, is that really going to happen?
No.
Does anybody realistically believe that this can be done in enough time? Could it be done over generations? Perhaps. But is it going to be done in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10? No, because they have a natural tendency at the top and in the middle to push to the left. Why? Because they can. Why can they? Because the Democrats are pushing even further to the left.
Oh, yeah.
From a purely strategic perspective, if my job was as a strategist for the GOP, I would say, guys, push to the center, because you have nobody on the right, no federalists, no conservatives. These people who are going to complain about you not repealing Obamacare are the same people that no matter what you do, they're never going to vote for the Democrats. So you don't have to cater to them. And that's what the GOP strategy is now. They want to
think about it. You brought up the Freedom Caucus and how Justin Amash and them were voting, like Justin voted against Kate's Law. And the GOP lost their damn minds because he said, well, via the Constitution, it's not constitutional. He wrote this whole thing. But you're right. We are very few and far between the Justin Amash and the Ted Cruz and the Mike Lees. We don't have, you're absolutely right. There are so few of them that when they do something that is constitutional, people lose their minds.
Yep, that they do.
Yep, it's a great point.
They truly are. They're faking their way through it. And that's why the Federalist Party needs to rise. Because even if, now I want to be very clear about this, because people have tried to say the opposite. Our intention, our goal, our roadmap, our strategy, and our plan all align perfectly with this vision, this dream that we can actually make a difference, that we can start winning elections as a Federalist Party. We can do the things that the other third parties have never been able to do. We know this for a fact, but here's the thing, and this is what I tell a lot of diehard Republicans. Even if we can't succeed at that, we should still be supported by these people, because if you think that the GOP needs to be pulled over to the right, no one can pull the GOP over to the right from within. The only people that can do that is fear. Or not the only people. The only thing that can make that happen is fear. And if they fear a party that's rising, that's starting to pull votes from constitutionally minded small government people, then they have to naturally say, oh, wait, turn around, guys. We're pushing too far to the middle, maybe pushing too far to the left. We've got to address our base. We've ignored them for a long time, but now they've got this other party out there that's starting to make waves. We've got to pull to the right. So even if you're a diehard Republican, you should still support the Federalist Party. Now, sure. That's not our goal, but when people say, I've heard, got into a little debate with a particular radio host recently who was saying, saying that, look, we've got to take the Republican route. I told him, and at the end he agreed that if you really want to save the Republican Party, you need to support the Federalist Party. And explained it in that way. And he actually, like I said, changed his mind. I'm not going to call him out because it was a further conversation, but I'll be on his show someday soon.
Sure. No, and I get that. I think that is really a smart idea, though, that ultimately the Federalists are not only fighting perhaps for country and for Constitution, but they're almost fighting for the soul of the Republican Party. And when you put it like that, because they have truly lost their way. And it feels like that with a lot of things you're hearing. We have a president who is a Republican talking about federally mandated child care or providing child care. When you hear these kind of things and you don't see much pushback from the right, it's scary. And I know a lot of people, myself included, have felt politically homeless since he won the nomination. And to be fair, I really thought Hillary would beat him. So when he won, I just was completely blown away, and I wasn't sure how to work within this as a Republican, as a conservative. So I've kind of felt homeless. And so I think Federalist Party, because the Libertarians, they didn't want me. I'll tell you this, because right after that happened in Trump won, we were like, Austin Peterson was done. And Austin is a constitutional libertarian, and he has some great ideas, and he was pushing the fundamentals of freedom and liberty. And they went with Gary, who, that's fine. And then the one guy took his clothes off and danced around. And so, but the libertarians told me they didn't want conservatives coming in and screwing up their party.
Right.
So where do we go? So Federalists, you have a huge opportunity to talk to conservatives who feel lost.
It's funny you mentioned Peterson. I've spoken to Austin several times over the last few weeks, and I actually might call after as soon as they get off here. If he's listening, I'm supposed to be speaking to their campaign manager. We're not endorsing. Nobody get excited.
Jeffrey?
We will not endorse. Yeah, we will not endorse Republicans. Period.
Sure.
Okay. I want to be clear about that. If we're going to be a real party, and we are, then that means that we can't endorse. We can't endorse other parties.
Right.
Period. Who said Austin is one of the good guys, so to speak, and so let's. I have no problem with talking and helping them in Missouri, and this is me personally, not as the Federalist Party endorsing or anything like that, but I do. Sure. I have to have that conversation because it is important. At this point, we need to pick and choose our battles, and we need to pick and choose our allies. And I do. If he can win, I would be shocked if Peterson were to win. I would be shocked if he would ever run again as a Republican. Because if he's in for 6 years, by 6 years, that should give us plenty of time to give him the base or the ability to be able to run with us. Just same thing with the Mike Lees or the Ted Cruz.
Yeah, because he reminds me. I actually got to interview him, and he's political hotness, whatever. But talking to him, he brought up some great ideas, but things that he said I didn't agree with. But I didn't feel like it was a fight, and so I think you pick and choose your battles, and you choose your allies, and he and I can be an ally on so many things that we don't have to agree on everything. And I think that's what we're going to see with federalism and conservatism, and even hopefully the GOP. Maybe getting another, like an Austin Peterson in the GOP will help save their soul a little.
No, I think it could, but there's still a long road ahead in that regard. We have to. Yeah,
it's a big seat. That's a big seat he's trying to up. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. But I guess also. I think if people want to learn more about federalism or hear more about what you have to say, where do they find this information? Is it just Twitter? Is there a website? Where do they go?
The first place they should go, and this is something that I recommend to everybody, and I promise we will never abuse this, is they should text Federalist, the word Federalist, to 53445. One of the things that we're going to do differently from every other third party, and in many cases, even the two major parties, we're going to embrace technology as we have the ability today to reach people. Let's take advantage of that, whether it's social media, mobile technology, the demographic targeting, there's geofencing, geotargeting. There's so many things we've been looking at as ways to actually utilize technology. So we know the people out there, they sign up for these text services and they get 15 texts a week. So far, we've been averaging about 4 texts per month, and it's only when it's something important. So if you want to stay on top, text Federalist to 53445. You can always reach out to us on our website, which is thefederalistparty.org, thefederalistparty.org. I sound like Ted Cruz. thefederalistparty.org.
Sorry, go ahead.
Reach out that way. Or like you mentioned, Facebook, Twitter. We try to be very active on both. We're not as active as some of us out there on Twitter, but we try to get out there at least a little.
Thing.
No.
Sorry.
When we get to hire a full-time social media person who will be out there full blown. But right now we're sharing duties, sharing responsibilities. So that's why you see it not quite as much.
I think that makes sense and I think I have a lot of respect for that, because that means the people who are working with you and for you believe in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you have that kind of foundation, you really can't fail. And I don't know what you're trying to do at this point, if you're trying to get people on ballots, if you're just trying to build a base. I mean, what are you looking at right now?
We're that's me. I know we don't have much time, so I'll keep this short.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
When we first launched, we thought that we would be looking at forming, filling out paperwork, and basically everything would be happening in about 2018, and we try to get ready for the 2020 or 2022 election. Things exploded. Things have blown up in the last few months. We've been around for 8 months now, and, by golly, we are right now. I'm holding back the reins because, yes, there are people I've spoken to many candidates and potential candidates who want to run as federalists, and we have to hold them back for now. Not to say that they won't run in 2018, but we have to take this in the proper order. So the correct answer to your question is we are just growing, getting the word out, letting people know we're here. The behind the scenes, super secret, Foo only answer is that I would be shocked if we're not running a major candidate in 2018. We're definitely going to be running smaller candidates because we're pushing for, mayors, city councils.
That's great.
County
And
dog
I think
catcher. I don't
that's
care.
the best place to start because we
Absolutely.
forget that power is local and that politics should be local and that the only elections that matter aren't your national elections. They are your city council. They're your mayor. They're your dog catcher. They're your sheriff. Get involved at that level. I think that's brilliant. And I think that will resonate with small government types like me.
And that's exactly why. That's the biggest flaw. When we found that there were many flaws with the other third parties, that was the biggest one, is that they'll put all their efforts and resources to try to get 0.003% of the presidential vote, and yet they don't have a mayor. Give me a break.
Get a mayor. Get a sheriff.
Get a mayor.
Catcher.
Get a dog catcher. There are so many dogs that need to be caught. We need to.
I'm a federalist. I'm a federalist dog catcher. Take that. I believe in your constitutional rights. JD, how do people find you specifically, like if they want to chat with you on Twitter or somewhere? What is your Twitter handle?
It's just JD Rucker, and I do love chatting with people directly whenever I can. So please hit me up on Twitter. That's the fastest, easiest, and best way to get me directly.
All right, and then the website one more time, please.
It is thefederalistparty.org, thefederalistparty.org, thefederalistparty.org.
Killing me. All right, my friend. You go take care of those llamas. You are in my thoughts and prayers for many reasons. You keep me posted on how you're doing, okay?
All right, Boo, you're the best.
Oh, no, you're the best. Thank you, JD, for being here.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, my gosh, you guys. This hour goes by so fast, and I fret all day that I will have nothing to say, and you'd think by now I would know better. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. You guys get a chance. You really should check out JD's feed. The Federalists, they are some smart cats. They are talking about different things. And if you are feeling politically homeless, like yours truly, will give you a little hope. Please stick around, you guys. We have a great lineup tonight. I'm trying to do better at this because we do have some fantastic hosts in radio for you lined up. Next is the Conservative Curmudgeon, then Jesse's Voice, followed by the Stafford Voice, and then America Off the Rails with Rick Robinson, who is my producer and totally rad. So listen to him, damn it. I really appreciate you guys being here. Next week, I will be here with special guest Jesse Makes Bad Lists, but is still an awesome person, Kelly. You won't want to miss that show. So take care of yourselves. Hang in there. Keep Texas in your prayers, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien